So we're going to start with this first problem, which actually happens to be very similar to a problem that came on your mid-module assessment from Module 1. So let's go ahead and read through this together. Track on your page while I read it aloud. It says most television shows use 13 minutes of every hour for commercials, leaving the remaining 47 minutes for the actual show. One popular television show wants to change the ratio of commercial time to 3:7. Create two ratio tables, one for the normal ratio of commercials to programming, and another for the proposed ratio of commercials to programming. And then use the ratio tables to make a statement about which ratio would mean fewer commercials of viewers watching 2 hours of television. So this is a pretty meaty problem, but from it we should be able to pull out a few ratios that we know. If there's any point during the video where you're not sure of something that I said, you can always rewind it, go back and watch it, or you can pause it to catch up. So let's start and see where we're at. So the first thing we want to see is what ratios do we know after we've read through the problem. So it looks like the first ratio I know is 13 to 47. And this would be the ratio of 13 to 47. This is not commercials to programming. This is actually commercials to, now this one actually is to programming. This one actually is to programming. So I can put it in a table in a second. So let's see if we can find another ratio in our problem. So as I look through it, I can see a colon. So that tells me another ratio right here. Another ratio right here. So this is the ratio of commercial time, again, to show time. So I can put 3:7, with C being the commercial, and the 7 being my actual program that I'm watching. So whenever we're solving these types of problems or we're trying to make a comparison of two ratios, we want to usually try to make some tables and then look for some common numbers. So let's see if we can do that. So let's start with our normal ratio. So that is our 13 to 47. I know I can have commercial time, show time, and then the total time for the television program. So here I know 13 minutes for my commercial, 47 minutes for my showtime, and so that would give me 60 total minutes of the TV time. So again, if you need to pause the video and catch up, please do that now. So let's now put our other ratio into the other table. So this is the new ratio that they're trying to change it to. So I've got my commercial with 3 minutes. I've got my 7 for my show time. That means here, this ratio, the total is 10. Now right off the bat, I don't see any common numbers at all. And I know that if I multiply these two numbers and keep multiplying them, it's going to be hard to find numbers they match up with. And same thing here. But here with 60 and 10, I know 10, it can eventually be the same as 60. All I have to do is multiply by 6. And I do the same thing for every ratio. So 10 times 6 is 60, 7 times 6 is 42. And then 3 times 6 would be 18. And we know we must be correct because if you add 18 and 42, you sure would get 60. But here's the problem. Back in the text it says, use the ratio tables to make a statement about which ratio would mean fewer commercials of viewers watching for 2 hours of television. 60 minutes is just 1 hour. So I need to go and double this so that I have 2 hours. So if I double each one of these, I can double 13 and get 26. I can double 47 and get 94. If I add these two, or if I double 60, no matter what, I'll get 120 minutes, which is 2 hours of television. So now we just have to double this one. So again here, if I were to annotate this, what I did was I multiplied by 2. Multiplied by 2. Multiplied by 2. And so finally, I can double this one as well. Again, I'm multiplying by 2, so here I would get 36. This would be 84. And then this would be, like we said, 120 minutes or 2 hours. So now let's see. We've got common numbers with the 120s. And we want the option that has the fewest commercials. So that means I'm looking here, my commercials column, and here, my commercials column. So it looks like our normal ratio is the better one because only 26 minutes of commercials here, while you have 36 commercials here. So let's think about how we can write this out. I gave us a little sentence stem here. The blank ratio is best because when the blank is blank, there are blank fewer minutes of commercials. Not super helpful right now, but let's see if we can decide here. So we've already said the normal ratio is better. So let's at least write that down. The normal ratio is best because, well, when the totals are the same. So the totals are the same. Here totals 120, here totals 120. When the totals are, subject verb agreement there, are the same, there are, well, how many fewer minutes? Well, it looks like 26 and 36. There are 26 fewer commercial minutes here. So obviously, again, the normal ratio is the best ratio. So let's review how we did that. We started by trying to figure out what our ratios are. We built some tables from it, and then we started to look for common numbers as we multiplied out to actually find our answer and make our statement at the end.